So, Friday, the 14th of February, 2025, James Wilding, Academic Principal, Clare's Court School, Maidenhead. Just a quick catch up on 6 weeks of this 2025 story. Independent school, 1,000 children, Maidenhead, now having to pay about £3.5 million of VAT plus just coming up NI as well to the government. I was really sorry to hear about Bedstone College announcing its closure today. Somewhere between Shropshire and Herefordshire on the Welsh border, Bedstone College has been a beacon of kind of non-selected great education, day and boarding, and it can't sustain that anymore. That's not about VAT, it's not about NI, it's about everything that actually has diminished businesses working in the UK. Really sorry. Toby Mullins and all those involved, you've got a heck of a job to look after. Also learned, of course, via the government that apparently 60p for a breakfast and staffing to accommodate it isn't enough. So actually everybody involved in looking after the wonderful idea that we can look after everybody that needs a breakfast, and most people have got that anyway, can't afford to do it the government way. It's also interesting to note a huge number of independent nursery schools are now going to have to leave the primary schools in which they're situated because they no longer fit the mantra of it's about the state. I want to remind you about what it's about the state looks like. I've got 5 cases I'm dealing with at the moment of families either incoming to my school or, dare I say, outgoing from my school, whereby they've got special educational needs and the state can't cope. It can't cope because the bureaucracy that's been wrapped around them means that it's all about the kind of, you've heard it before, gaslighting word salad. Loads of words around it. We'll do this and then in a timely manner. And actually, there's no money to go with the this and that in timely manner. One of my students, year 13, placed with us by a local authority, thank goodness has got an auntie to look after her miles away on the seashore. Because unfortunately, locally, they're so vulnerable, they're so challenged that unfortunately the social system can't cope. Last week in my blog, I talked about education being the 4th emergency service. It absolutely is, without doubt, absolutely is. One of the biggest problems about imposing a new tax on something people don't understand is that inevitably your rule makers will want to try to gather as much tax as they can without thinking about actually the fact that there ain't any tax there to collect anyway. Imagine we were taxing seagulls for the nonsense they deposit on my playground. Now, you can try as hard as you like, and they do it every time the bell rings. Guess what? 350 children leave the playground, the seagulls come down and clear it up. Well done. But you can't tax them on the guano they leave behind. And that seems to me about the kind of strategy that the current policies from the Labour government are about. How can we tax people on the stuff they've left behind? Let me clarify more carefully what that means. I've got a fabulous child in school. Let's call them George. Now, George is in my school. They're happily making a huge amount of progress, and they've been placed there by the state. Now, the state has said, without any doubt, we will cover the VAT. But guess what? The local county lawyers have discovered that because in the weasel words that were placed there for this child that's funded with me said it's a discretionary budget, and that helps the local family decide, do we spend this on school? Do we spend this on things that school can't do? If a child, for example, is struggling with physiotherapy or other mobility issues within reach of me, I've got one of the world's great centres of Stoke Mandeville that can happen in. Well, you wouldn't spend it with me, would you? The trouble is that discretionary budgets don't take that into account. So suddenly, everything that's now 20% more expensive can't be rebated. Again, I understand completely. There are way more complicated things happening, like in Ukraine, whereby suddenly there's a world war going on and we might have noticed, but suddenly Mr. Trump has taken attention and he's arguing with Putin about whether the West has done it right or not. Schools like mine that have got, say, 10 Ukrainian students in it, fully funded by the school, they have had their visa terminated sometime in the near future and they've got to go home. I don't mind that. They don't mind that. I'd love to go home. But sadly, we as a country said, come here. Come here and then do what? Wait. Can they get places in local school? Of course they can. But no transport plan. So one of mine in West Wickham, his transport plan is to 50 miles away and no bus. My bus stops outside the door. Mum and family and hosts and have done brilliantly well for almost 3 years now. But it can't go on doing brilliantly well. One of the things that our sector has done brilliantly well, going back to the Bedstone story, is we know how to make networks happen. We're about being able to volunteer people, places for shows and festivals and Shakespeare and the like. I've been challenged recently on the idea that Bugsy Malone isn't suitable for children in primary school. You'll know that, of course, it's a great primary school film in which every child possible in it misbehaves. Suddenly, it might not be politically correct to show that because we shouldn't be showing that children misbehave in school. Guess what? They always have done. When the director of Bugsy Malone went into the acting school to find Fat Sam, they actually said, who's the worst behaved child in the class, and picked him. One of the things I hate about government things that can be measured is it measures the things that then people value to be important. What about happiness? Immeasurable. Except on the 14th of February, when hopefully you, like I, have made a wonderful meal for your wife. It's her birthday too. Nice little heart-shaped cake to start with, and 3-course meal afterwards. We daren't go out to a restaurant because, of course, it's not that that's not affordable. It's just that it's my wife's birthday, not everybody's birthday, and she likes to spend it just with the people she loves. So think about that. Where would you like to spend your time with people you love? I think in schools that cherish the things that are valued rather than things that can be counted. Think on that as we break for half term.